You're listening to Robin Flan's Drummer Interviews, the #1 drum radio show in all of Los Angeles,
the world, the galaxy.
Hi, this interview is sponsored by ePad Practice Pads, the only drum practice pad made with Enduraflex playing surface.
I agree with that.
And, well, I hope there's going to be an interview. We haven't heard from our interview yet.
He's going to call.
Okay, well, we hope so.
And who's the interview with today? Tell everybody.
It's the amazing Stanley Randolph. And
he is amazing.
Yes, but the deal is I haven't had any personal contact with Stanley. I've been going through sort of a person. So when that happens, I feel a little bit not in...
No, you're talking to his girlfriend, whose name I don't know yet.
I don't know if it's his girlfriend.
I think she manages him.
I don't know that.
And I'll tell you why, because for everyone who's curious about this, I was actually surfing the internet, and I found Stanley. Actually, he was doing another show. He was doing Drumeo, the Jared Falk podcasts that they do and stuff, and I just was tuning in. I happened to catch him playing. He plays unbelievably great personality, and I think I had seen a few videos on him, and one of them was also at MI in Hollywood, and he was doing a clinic, and I think at one point, if I'm remembering this correctly, his girlfriend was in the audience, and she was letting him know that he was chewing gum while he was playing.
Well, it could have been his manager. I mean, she might just be a manager.
That could be.
So
I guess we'll figure it out when he calls in. But anyway,
so I've been going through his person. We'll just call it his person, and so I haven't had any personal contact with him. So it's one of those things where we could be just talking amongst ourselves.
He's just listening to see how much we know about it.
And so I haven't been able to say, hey, remember, don't forget. And so it's now 3 minutes after, and there hasn't been a phone call. So it's just Ed.
He'll call. We had this once. This happened with Harvey Mason too, and it was. I don't even know if Harvey was in California or if he was.
Yeah, he was.
Was he?
Yeah, he was.
I think, but he was.
But he was late because he was. I think he was in traffic or something. Yeah.
So that stuff happens, and it's not anything that we can't correct. So I'm sure if plus Stanley's doing what right now? He's on tour with New Kids on the Block. So maybe they called a rehearsal. You don't know. I think he sings too, doesn't he?
Or maybe Stevie Wonder called again and said, "I need you now. Beam me up, Scotty."
And it would be understandable.
And that's what happened last week when we had a scheduled time, and Stevie called at the night before and said, "I need you. And it's tomorrow, and get on an airplane." And so then I heard from his person, and she said, "I'm so sorry, but he has to go be with Stevie." And I said, "Well,
don't apologize for that.
That's okay with me.
No reason."
So yeah, he had to go, and that was that. And then we rescheduled for today, and today has come.
Where is he? Is he on the road? He's on the road now.
Well, I thought so.
Yeah.
I was under the impression, but today could have been a day off. And
that could be.
And he might have gone and done
something.
So
we'll talk through this for another minute or two, and then we'll just move on with some new exciting stuff that you and I will come up with as we go.
It'll be the Robin and Ed show.
Yeah, that's right. Who else gets called from Stevie Wonder? New Kids.
And maybe we can have somebody else call in and do an interview with me.
I will tell you that he has a pretty unique setup. And this was the other thing that was really impressive about him. I think he is a DW endorsee, I believe, and But there's a really neat thing he has going on to the left of his hi-hat. He actually has, I saw this video with 2 hi-hats, and he had a little, like an additional snare and a little cluster of like concert toms, and it was like amazing. So he could go from the hip sound, the DW thing, over to like a 70s sort of. I hear that too. I'm hoping that's some sort of a. Keep talking. We want people to know that we're still here.
We're here.
I think the dog's out in the kitchen microwaving something for himself. I can hear it.
Some little gremlins are in my ear.
But yeah, so he has a real unique thing that he does, and plays great. But I had never thought of that. Usually, when you see guys with auxiliary percussion to the left of the hi-hats, it could be just that percussion. But this was all actually like another mini drum kit with a 70s Steve Gadd deader sounding. It was really, really cool, and it was great the way he incorporated it. So it's almost like it's 2 different vibes within a song if he chooses to do that. So yeah, it was really, really cool. And he's how long did he say he'd been with Stevie Wonder before we?
Well, I'm not sure. So I think I was gonna sort of ask him that. I think it's been at least a couple of years, but yeah, I think it was like 2014 or something.
Cool.
But yeah,
it's amazing. It's such a big community yet small. You know what I mean? They say that the world is a small place, and you find these guys. Thank God for the internet in that respect. I just happened to be surfing that night and found him. So whenever he gets ready, we'll invite him on. But I wanted to ask you about something that happened a couple of weeks ago, and you ought to tell the listeners about your interview that Joe Gansas from Around the Kit, I'm sorry. You called in a few weeks ago and had a thing with, I think Bernie Dressel was on as well, and Jim Riley? Is it Jim?
Yes.
Jim Riley.
Yes.
So what was that like? How did you like being on the other side of the interview process?
Well, it's always kind of a challenge for me. I'm always, nervous and it's difficult for me because I'm not used to being the talker. So it's unusual. It's a challenge for me. But Joe was great, and he was very prepared. He knew a lot about me, so that was great. And
so he's read the police blotter. He's got the whole thing figured out.
Yep. He knew everything about me almost.
And a plug for him quickly, but we just read that he's doing like a Ringo tribute with Kenny Aronoff. I guess is going to co-host that episode. I'm not sure when that's coming up, but I did see it on your page on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So, or I guess you can go to Joe's site and get the details. Is it aroundthekit.com?
Yeah.
Okay, aroundthekit.com. Yeah. And he's a guy that like works. That isn't the only thing he does.
Right.
He's got
a day job.
And he's a drummer. And he's got a day job.
He's very dedicated.
And
so
he'll do.
It's very cool.
He does like a 4-hour.
Oh, it's 3 hours. Yeah, but it's long. I mean, I don't know how he does it because 1 hour isn't kind of.
And you were the last one. You were the last one to go up. So
yeah,
right.
Yeah, and he had full energy, full steam. So
and he's
good for him.
Is he in New York or New Jersey?
He's well, he's on the East Coast. I think it's New York.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, actually, I think it's Long Island or something. Maybe. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but it was cool. I was working that night myself, but I heard bits and pieces of it when because he puts all the stuff back up in his site, so you can go, much like what we're doing here, but you can go and visit that later and listen to it whenever. So, all right, very cool. Trying to think if there was any other drum thing that I just heard about.
Well, I'm going to send a shout out to Kenny Malone and hoping the best for his wife. His wife has been ill.
Aha. Don't give him a hard time either. Right, hang on just a second. And here we go. Go ahead, Rob.
And who might this be?
Oh, this is Stanley Randolph. Who is this?
Aha! Yay, Stanley! It's Robin Flans, and I'm so excited to be talking to you.
Awesome. Likewise, I'm excited to to you too.
So, Stanley,
Yeah.
we've already done a little bit, kind of going back and forth. So I'm going to sort of intro you in because I didn't get to do my big sort of hurrah on you because you hadn't called
man.
yet. So
He doesn't want to miss that.
So I'm this is Ed, by the way.
Hi, Stanley.
Ed is my
What's up, Ed? How you doing, bro?
Good,
my
man.
co-host, and he's the technical guy behind the.
I'm a huge fan. The technical part for me is that I saw you. I was actually telling Rob really quick that I saw you on Drumeo on a video.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
flipped out over you. So we're glad. I told Rob, I said, you got to get this guy. It's unbelievable. so we're glad you're here. And actually,
our son saw you in New York with Stevie. So
Okay.
he also said, "Mom, you got to get that guy." So
You gotta get that guy.
So anyway, as far as I'm concerned. It doesn't get much better than you and Stevie Wonder and wow, and I mean, not to mention, okay, so you're also out now with New Kids on the Block. You've worked with Christina Aguilera and Boyz II Men and Tony Braxton, and I mean, shit. I mean, it's just kind of crazy. So, okay, let's just talk. I mean, last week you had to postpone our interview because you got a last-minute call from Stevie. And I mean, what was that? And how often does that happen?
Well, that was actually a gig with Stevie. We did a performance at the Apple headquarters building out here, San Jose in California.
Okay. Apple headquarters.
It just so happened. Yeah. It just so happened to fall, actually, thank God, on an off day for the New Kids tour. So I was able to do the show with New Kids in Nashville and take a flight the next day of the show with Stevie that morning to San Jose, California, and get the performance with Stevie. Apple was, I guess, they're promoting some new Audible stuff that they're creating on their devices.
Oh.
And, Stevie is a big fan of Apple Mac products. He's a big supporter.
Yes.
So, and anytime that they do something for the hearing impaired or blind people to where they're able to use devices and technology, just advanced technology for handicapped people. Whatever. So it's they created something pretty good. I don't want to spill the beans. I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to say what it is. But
right. Okay.
It was a pretty cool. Yeah, it was a pretty cool experience. My first time being at the headquarters, man. I love Apple products.
Who doesn't? I mean, really, who doesn't? So Stanley, I know you've told this story before, but not to me. So
okay,
how did you score everyone's dream gig?
Oh man, so pretty much what happened is I have to thank two people: Teddy Campbell.
Yes.
Teddy Campbell and another amazing drummer, Chris Johnson. Two great friends, great mentors, people I look up to and work with a lot on the different occasions. When I moved to LA from Memphis, I got a chance to actually meet Teddy Campbell and just pay attention to his whole work, his work ethic, and how he gets stuff done. And just so happened he got a chance to hear me play with my band that I was with from Memphis, New Genesis. We had a performance at BB King's in LA when they used to have one out here.
Right.
And they came, him and a lot of other homies, people I respect, they came to the show and checked us out. And Chris Johnson, Teddy Campbell was the main guy on the gig, and I believe he called Chris Johnson in to fill in for him when he started doing some TV show stuff. And Chris Johnson had, his wife was actually pregnant with child, and he had to leave the tour early. So they called me randomly one day, man, and it was like, yo, I need you to come to this address, come to the studio, And I was like, cool, we have an audition for you. I said, cool, man, I'll be there. I just get to the studio. It's late at night. I get to the studio, and I don't know whose place it is. It's very, very hidden and incognito. Like, you don't know who it belongs to. So I'm sitting in the lobby of the studio, and through these doors open up, man, and Stevie Wonder walks through them. And he's by himself, just walking, like no one's helping him walk. He just walks through the door.
Wow.
It's almost as if like the guy could see. So it kind of tripped me out. So
Wow.
he walks through and he walks down the hallway, and I'm like, oh, that's Stevie Wonder. Wow. Stevie Wonder, he's at the studio. So I'm like, cool. And so after that, Chris Johnson comes to the front, and he talks to me. He's like, yeah, man, I'm not going to be able to do some tour dates and shows, man. I want to see if you're interested in, playing for Stevie Wonder, man. And I was like, yeah, bro, for sure. He's like, yeah, man, we're going to go back here, you talk to him and meet him. We're going to just, play a little bit, play some music, do a little audition. I'm like, okay, cool. So I go in the back, man, and I meet Stevie Wonder, and it's an amazing experience. It's just overwhelming.
Wow.
So we sit down. He has numerous drum sets in the studio.
Wow.
So I sit down. I sit down on a drum set. He sits down on one of his pianos, and the first thing he plays is Giant Steps.
Wow.
And we played Giant Steps for about 20 minutes, man, and then we just went from song to song to song. And I didn't know every Stevie Wonder song. In the beginning, I didn't know them all, but I knew them well enough because I grew up on his music
Sure.
as a kid. So. But yeah, we just went song to song and just played and just vibed for like 2 hours.
Wow.
And after that, he was like, man, you sound really good, man. You got the gig.
Just right on the spot. Just
right on the spot. Just right then and there.
I mean, how
right
did
then and there, right on the
oh
spot.
my God. I mean, do you think that you play keyboards. I mean, do you think that your playing keyboards has something to do with the way you approach the drums?
Definitely, for sure, because me playing keyboards, it opened up my mind to listen to the music and to the band, because when I became a keyboard player, I started listening to what drummers are playing while I'm playing the keyboard. And usually when I was younger, I started playing keyboards when I was probably about 14, in between 12 to 14. When I was younger, man, I just loved drums, so I would just play the drums. I just wanted to play the drums. Not really listening to everything else that's going on in the music. Of course, I knew the song, but I just played the drums because I love to hear drums. And it wasn't until I started playing keyboards that I started listening to the other guy playing drums, and I would be like, man, listen to the groove that I'm playing on the keyboard and match them with your drums. It wasn't until I actually opened that whole part of my life that I experienced drums in a whole other way. So when I got back on drums, it made me listen to everybody.
Right.
And so it was like a way for me to learn that you can actually hold the groove and still play cool little accents within the song, because you might have a guitar player playing a part over here that you can catch on the accent with the drums. Or you might have a keyboard player or a vocalist or somebody doing something cool that you can catch, on the drums. And it's, that way you're still in the pocket, but you still can have fun with the music too.
Absolutely. Now,
you know what I'm saying? So,
now, before you called in, Ed was talking about your interesting setup with Stevie.
Yeah, Stanley, I was noticing you've got like sort of a mini kit set up to the left of your hi. I think you have two hi-hats, right? And then you've got
I do.
a little, and it's great because I was telling Robin just before you came on that it's like having two different vibes in the same song.
Exactly. Yeah. And I get to choose which vibe I want to, which vibe I want to be that day.
Right.
That's the coolest thing about it.
Right.
When I started the gig with Stevie, I approached this music as a younger drummer. I think that's one of the reasons he really liked my playing, because it was a younger feel. Even though I was still trying to play the records how they are, but my drums were seemed different. They were a little bit more R&B popish sounding.
Right.
If you listen to like on the DVD, my drums are just like the tuning and everything is different. So the whole way that whole kit came about, really, man, was from when Stevie decided he wanted to do Songs in the Key of Life. the whole record as a tour.
Right.
So he brought in a lot of original players and producers from that time. And so I'm noticing the first day of rehearsal, I'm noticing that, like, they're bringing in the original instruments that was used to create this whole album. They're bringing in the original vintage keyboards and synths and basses and everything like that was created.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, man, like, everything is so authentic, man. I want to be as close to authentic as I can be, as far as the record. So I studied the whole album again some more. And also I remembered from doing so many sessions at Stevie's studio how his drums were set up and how he tuned them and how he taped them. And, he really didn't use crashes. A lot of his cymbals were rides, but he just crashed on a ride and they gave it that effect, which is really dope. That's why I really started crashing on the ride more than anything.
And I was going to say too. So in terms of the drums next to the hat and being inspired by what Stevie did, so like most guys would just do either the sample thing or the trigger pads to, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
But you just wanted the whole feel and the vibe and the sound and
because nothing was like really on a click track. Like that whole album, there's no click track. It's just Stevie freely playing. So that's why sometimes when certain instruments or certain parts kind of fall out of sync, it's just a whole vibe. So it wasn't as perfect as how music is today. How everything is on a click,
right?
Perfectly on the click.
No, it was real.
Just like,
it was completely real.
Totally real.
Yeah,
totally real. Yeah. So I wanted to do the same thing. So I wanted to be able to have both vibes because Stevie still does love the younger feel that I can provide, but at the same time, he still loves the fact that I'm, willing to respect his vibe and respect his music and everything.
Yeah, it was real. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, what you say? No. I'm listening. What you say?
No, I was just going to say when you first started playing on the show that I saw you on the Drumeo thing, it was such a dichotomy between the DW kit that was in front of you, and then when you started to play all the drums on the side. And by the way, are those single-headed toms you've got on the left of the hat?
Yeah, there's no bottom heads.
Okay.
And I'm using a black dot control sound on the toms.
Really? And you're also using pretty big sticks, right? Aren't you using like metal, Vic Firth metal or something?
Yeah, man. That came from me being in marching band, man. When I was in marching band, I actually stopped playing drum set when I was doing marching band because that's also the same period when I started playing keys.
Right.
So my hands had got adjusted to using marching band sticks, bigger sticks. So when I got on the drum set and I actually put a pair of 1As, I used to use 1As before I started using Vic Firth metals. When I put a pair of 1As in my hands, they felt like 7As.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So it was hard for me to get the control that I needed from my wrist and everything using smaller sticks. So I randomly went to the music store one day, back in my hometown, and I was trying to find a stick, in between a 1A and a Ralph Hardiman marching stick.
Right.
So metal was the best option. It had the length, and it was big enough for me to feel like I can control my rudiments or control the technical side of me. But it felt kind of like a 1A for my hand size, whatever.
Right, and so I would assume that when you use bigger sticks, it's easier to relax to get the power.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because a 1A, I mean, is a 1A, is that a Regal tip stick?
No, that's a Vic Firth.
Oh, it is. Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's a Vic Firth. It's a rare stick. They I found it. Mrs. Drum Shop from my hometown. I found that stick back there. So they used to sell it back when I was living back at home.
I see, guys. I wasn't aware of those. I do remember the Ralph Hardiman sticks.
Yeah.
And if E.T. had those in that movie, he could have phoned home because they're like telephone poles.
They were huge.
They are huge.
Like,
yeah.
But the power and the control that you get from those sticks on a marching drum is incredible.
Yeah, I'll bet. So it's because that's the weird thing to me. It's the two things that have always fascinated me. Almost the two most important things in drum kit purchases are going to be heads and sticks.
Yep, that's right.
And oddly enough, sometimes you just go in and grab it. I mean, I try to be diligent when I buy sticks. You know, some guys have showed me how to you make sure the pitches are the same or the density of the wood so they feel good in your hands. You don't want one that's going to fly away and sound bad.
Right.
You know. But I remember going to a show years ago, and Yamaha had put out this kit. It was a carbon fiber thing, and it was for Tommy Aldrich back in the day. And I think the kit was like $20,000. And I said to my friend who was standing there, I go, it's amazing to me. These drums are worth thousands of dollars, yet the drum heads that are going on those drums are $20-$30.
Right.
But they did
a world of difference.
Oh yeah, but they did sound great, and so do yours, by the way. The I don't know if when you did Drumeo, if that stuff is that's cartage or you're flying your stuff around to do these things, but those drums sounded amazing. The DW
awesome.
stuff.
Yeah,
really
that was actually the DW kit they had for the show.
Really?
Drumeo had they had that kit, a DW kit there at the office already.
Wow, and so that is an exact duplicate of your touring kit, though.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a bit smaller actually, but it's pretty much the foundation of the touring kit.
All right, and can I ask you just one more thing, then, Rob? I didn't mean to hijack this. I'm just so happy to have this guy on here. But can I just ask you real quickly about your bass drum technique?
Yeah.
In terms of spring tension on your pedal, and are you heel up guy or heel down, or I mean, how do you approach the bass drum?
So yeah, I am a heel up guy, and the two things that people actually hate to experience on my drum set when I do local gigs here in LA, they hate my sticks and and they hate my foot pedal because I'm a heavy-footed guy.
Right.
So the tension on first of all, I use 2 to 3 weights on the beater.
At one time?
Yeah, on one beater, yeah. Just to get a cool balance. I usually have one at the top of the beater, at the headstock of the beater, and maybe, depending on how I'm feeling with the pedal, either I'll have another one in the middle or one at the very bottom. It just gives it a certain balance that I can control. And I usually, as far as the tension, I kind of have it not too tight, but kind of in the middle. Usually when you get a pedal, wherever the factory setting is, I'll probably tighten it up a little bit from there.
Really? And so,
yeah.
But if you put I think those are 2-ounce weight, are they? I'm not sure. I know what you're talking about, though. But if you put the weight at the top of the beater, it slows it down, right?
It does slow it down, but that's why I also tighten up the tension. So to give me, but it makes for some reason to me it makes the headstock of the beater feel heavier.
Right.
So that way I can really feel the impact of it hitting the drum. Because I've actually used the beater without any weights on it, and when I use it, I've actually broken beaters that way.
Really?
I'm trying to, I've actually broke some beaters and trying to feel the power from the kick drum, but the pedal feels too light to me, so I feel like I have to overwork.
And what kind of beater? What are you using for beater?
Well, I'm just actually using a standard factory beater that comes with the DW9000.
Oh, do you mean the plastic and then the little felt on the other side?
Yeah, actually, I use the plastic side on the younger sounding kid side, the R&B pop side, but I use the felt side on the old 70s style sounding side on the left side.
No, unbelievable, man, that you have 2 to 3 beater weights. You ever notice after you kick the bass drum that the front row is missing at your concert? That's a lot of power. Is your drum, and last question for me for now, but is the bass drum heavily muted or just a little bit?
Say it again, is the bass drum what?
Is it muted? You have a blanket or some sort of a EQ?
Oh, yeah, so in the main kick drum, I usually have there's 2 pillows. There's a pillow that comes with the DW drum.
Yeah.
When you get it out of the box. So I usually have 2 of those pillows inside of the right side the right kick. On the left kick, I'll probably have maybe 3.
Oh, okay.
Also, I'll have maybe like 3, and also I keep the head on the left side a little bit looser.
Oh, okay. And what's the heads you've got on the bass drum? What's the batter side head?
I'm using Power Stroke 3.
Oh, Power Stroke 3. Coated or clear?
Yeah, clear.
Clear. Okay, great. All right, I'm going to give the show back to Robin.
Cool.
I'm being a pig here, but thank you, man, for answering those questions.
So before
no problem,
before I take the show over, we're gonna break for a short little commercial, and from our sponsor, which is ePad Practice Pads.
All right.
So hang tight.
If you could design your own drum practice pad, what would it feel like? At ePad, our EnduraFlex practice surface was perfected to eliminate extreme bounce and unrealistic rebound. The benefits of ePad include quiet playing surface and shock-resistant properties that help reduce the risk of stress-related injuries. ePad offers the perfect feel and energy return for developing speed, endurance, and control. You will meet the challenge of the weaker hand with ePad. Warm up with our knee pads, tabletop practice pads. Warming up on ePads provides a natural transition from practice pad to drum set. At ePad, we know the need for speed, control, and endurance. Get your chops together with ePad's EnduraFlex playing surface. Practicing with ePads builds your finger, wrist, and forearm strength and helps you gain better control and endurance. Into feel? Well, ePads replicate the response and feel of a real drum. Our Pro Deluxe knee pad is portable, convenient, and lightweight. Perfect for the beginner, intermediate, or pro touring drummers. Find out why our products are a must-have. ePad, your source for high-quality drum set practice pads and accessories.
Hi, this is Robin Flans from Robin Flans Drummer Interviews. Please be sure to check out robinflansdrummerinterviews.com, where you can find some of my classic interviews such as Jeff Porcaro, Vinnie Colaiuta, Ringo Starr, and Carlos Vega, and many, many more. Again, that's robinflansdrummerinterviews.com. So be sure to check those pads out at epadco.com. That's epadco.com. And I'd like everyone listening to know that if you'd like your product advertised on our show, please contact us at info@robinflansdrummerinterviews.com, and we'll be happy to send you out information on our very affordable rates. And we are back with Stanley Randolph.
For sure.
Yeah.
So Stanley, I know that the Stevie Show is all done to click. So where did you learn to play with a click?
Oh man, so back home, when I really decided that I wanted to be a professional drummer, I started playing drums in my house, in my mom's attic, which is a basement upstairs instead of downstairs.
Oh.
So yeah, but I used to do that. I did that for about a month. Then you start getting complaints from the neighbors. So I had to go buy me a storage room, because in Memphis at the time they didn't have any rooms for rehearsals for people to rent out for rehearsals or like studio rooms for you to rent out. They didn't have that at the time. So I rented a storage room that was about 3 to 5 minutes away from my house. I let them know what I needed it for, asked them if they mind, if I played drums in there. And luckily, the storage room was in a random field near no one. So they didn't care about me playing drums at all, because usually the manager wasn't even on the lot. So actually, my whole routine for, I would say, 2 to 3 years, maybe a little longer, my whole routine every day was I would wake up at 10 in the morning. I would be at my drum room by 11. And I had an MPC at the time, an MPC, a drum machine. And I would make a loop on the MPC. And then I would play drums to it. I would just play a groove to it, different grooves on top of that MPC loop, on top of that click for like 3 hours or so. Then I would take a break, go get some lunch, run some errands. Then I would come back, and then I would make another loop or do some other stuff and just practice drums for a few hours. And then usually I would end there, go home, shower up, and go do the gig. Go practice, go play what I just practiced.
Is practicing to the loop, Stanley, better than just a straight metronome?
I would say so because
I
would say so because I would think that it's better for you to play to another loop. That way you can actually play it exactly, or you can do counterparts against it, which makes you listen to what's going on.
Yeah.
Playing to just a click, that's cool. I think that's a pretty cool technique, but you're just left there to do whatever you want to do by yourself, which is cool. But a lot of drummers, I tell them nowadays, you can't just really play the drums because you want to play the drums. You kind of, it's the whole thing, one band, one sound, and it really is a real thing. And like James Brown used to say, like every instrument, that's not a bass guitar, that's a drum. Because every instrument, no matter what, is going to play some type of rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
So I would tell people it's better to play with a loop.
Yeah.
If you do want to practice chops or linear chops or whatever, at least you can listen and know you have this groove going, so you know exactly where the one is. Right,
exactly. Yeah, because I remember back in the day, I don't know how old you are, but I guarantee I'm older than you. Probably much. You can cut me open and count the rings. I got a lot of them.
Oh,
yeah. But we used to have the little, those Franz metronomes, the little things that could barely, you couldn't hear the click. It was barely audible before you sat down at the drums. And as a kid, you didn't know how to mute and that kind of stuff. And it was just like the thing that I think the metronome, I guess it was good if your time was even. But most of the time, initially, you're just trying to land on the one, and it almost doesn't matter how you get there, but you would just try to get the one every time, and then the time would get wonky, before you got to the one. So that's very cool. So it makes, when you have to play to a track or a click on a live gig, you're not nervous about it because you're so used to doing it. Yeah.
Exactly.
So how did you land? I mean, your first big gig was Boys to Men, right?
Yeah, my first tour when I moved to LA. Well, that was the first tour I did when I moved to LA. I did some tours when living in Memphis. I did a small tour with Angie Stone. My first time going overseas, my first trip overseas was to South Africa, Johannesburg, Soweto. I did a tour with her, and then also I used to play for Isaac Hayes.
Oh.
When I was younger, too. When I was around maybe 18 or 19, the latter parts of his years, I played for him a lot of different gigs. Stuff back home in Memphis. And actually, one of my chances coming to L.A. was with Isaac Hayes.
Ah.
He brought us out. Yeah, he brought me out here to do a gig with him.
Wow, okay.
So, but when I moved to L.A., my first tour in L.A. was Boyz II Men. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And so that sort of introduced you to a certain group of people.
Well, actually, yeah, it was a certain clique,
right?
People for sure. But it's just actually a coincidence because the group of people that I got cool with when my first week of moving to LA, which is Christina Aguilera's band, I got really cool with her band the first week. Moved to LA, they let me actually come into their rehearsals and hear the show that they put together and how they kind of put it together, which was a great experience because being back home, I wasn't even aware. I thought I knew all the things that it takes to put on a big production, like on a huge stage for a mega rock star. So I really didn't know as much as I thought I did. When I got to the rehearsal and saw how they put it together, I learned so much about how you have cues and different clicks, and you got cutoffs here, cutoffs there.
Wow.
On the verse of this song, and it was so much that I had to take in. So actually meeting them and getting cool with them over the years down the line, the drummer of that band had a better opportunity. He ended up becoming a drummer for Madonna.
Oh my gosh! Okay.
Amazing.
Okay,
so
that's cool.
When Christina actually had more spot dates to do, he couldn't make them. So the rest of the guys in the band were trying to decide, man, who can we get to fill his spot while he's out? And my name came up, and they gave me a call, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm available.
Wow.
I ended up doing Christina Aguilera about 6 to 7 years ago, and while I was on tour, while I was doing her gig, the same band, the leader of that band, his name is Rob Lewis. He's like, yeah, man, I have some other shows and other tours. I have some other tours if you're interested and you're available. Like New Kids on the Block is going to do a tour with Backstreet Boys. It's going to be like a whole boy band thing. And I was like, oh, man, yeah, I'm down. And then that turned into like a whole other thing. So I've been with them for the last 5-6 years. So it's just like different families. And, you know,
Wow.
I've been with them for years, you know. Just, we all work together.
So what? Okay, so let's talk about what each one of those situations requires of you as a player.
Right. So, as far as with Stevie, it's more just me being a drummer. I'm really just a heartbeat and the tempo of that gig, and I love that gig because it's nothing about the flash. It's totally all feel. I don't have to be technical or think of any linear chop or nothing. It's totally just feel. You're playing hit songs that people grew up to.
Right.
So, like, even the way that Stevie played, it might seem technical, man, but it was just feel. This is a guy who can't see what he's playing.
Right.
He's just feeling it, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Totally feel. So that's the whole aspect that I love about that gig. When it comes to Boys II Men and New Kids on the Block and Christina, it's more of a technical thing because the shows are time coded. Everything is like, you got to make sure the lights, and you hit this accent right there because they're hitting the dance move. And
right.
You got to hit that accent every night, or you got to hit this right there because the lights are going to pop.
So you must have like a video monitor back behind your kit?
Well, actually, no. What I do, I mean, I can see everything. The cool thing about the tour is we're usually always on the stage, so I can watch the show as I'm playing it because after a week, maybe 2 weeks of playing the show, I'm in autopilot mode.
Right.
I know the show,
Right.
you know, and I have all the secrets and all the tricks that I need to tell myself. They're in Pro Tools. All the cues, they're in Pro Tools. So I'm constantly telling myself in my ear, this is coming up. This is next. Count it this. That. So I have all those counts to keep me on point. And those, after a while, after hearing that so much, that stuff becomes autopilot. You know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, and
Yeah, what you say?
No, I was just curious. So you're locked into tempos that are already dictated by the computer or the time codes or whatever, right?
Exactly.
So you're not. There's no like band discussions about, well, you know, this one felt a little slow tonight or a little up because you're locked into, you know, the.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
That's the thing about both sides, all the gigs that they all have in common is that nothing is legit.
Right.
At any point in time, the cool thing about Stevie is we have no set list with Stevie. They do give us a set list, you know, every show to kind of have maybe like a roadmap, but Stevie Wonder goes wherever he wants to go.
Yeah.
You know, there's no set list. He can, just like that DVD, I tell people all the time, man, they think that the DVD was so like planned and put together. That is basically Stevie Wonder. That's just a random Stevie Wonder night.
Really?
Whatever songs he felt like playing, that's what we played.
Wow.
And that's the whole cool thing about learning his music and knowing his whole vibe is that as soon as he hit a certain note or he tells a certain story, or you can usually tell by how he's playing and watching his whole movements, like where he's gonna go or how he's feeling.
Wow.
So that's the cool thing about all the gigs. Even on the new kids tour I'm on right now, there's still small changes being made. So some night we might be on a bigger stage where they need more time to get to the other end. So we might have to extend this chorus 2 times around so they can have time to walk through the crowd and get to the other end.
Huh. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? On one night the stage is probably short, so cut that whole section out. We're not gonna even do that section. The show might be shorter, so they have to cut it out, and the video people have to line up their whole time code and everything. It's a whole operation. So
talk about arrangements while you wait.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, and we constantly have to remind ourselves. It's like a whole day process thing. Usually, if we do a show today, and there's certain changes we need to make because we notice that things could be better on the show. Like if we have a show tomorrow, we'll make those changes during the day, practice them during sound check, give ourselves the cues, and then that night it's showtime.
Wow. Okay.
Right, but when you well, there must be there's like a band leader, band director.
Oh yeah.
MD. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, he's the guy. He's very, very important guy. He has the eyes and the ears to see the vision of how to make the crowd react.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Knows, you know what I'm saying? He knows how to get the right response. Usually, almost a good 95 to 98% of the time, the ideas that he gives are always going to happen. They're always going to work.
Wow.
He's a great example, a great mentor.
That's comforting to go on stage with that, with that person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Wow. And who just
He's a great mentor.
just two things. Does Stevie ever play drums during the show?
Now, Stevie hasn't played drums in the last, I would say, maybe 4 years. But when I first got on the gig, yeah, he used to set up a electric kit on the side for him to get on and play sometimes.
Wow. And would you do it together or?
Yeah, together, definitely.
Oh my
I've
gosh.
actually had him come and show me how to play one of his records.
Really?
He said I was playing. He was like, "Man, you got to have that feel, man. I want you to do this feel. You got to play it right." It was one of his singles from when he was a kid, a song called "Uptight."
Oh, right, sure.
Yeah, and it had a certain vibe to it. And I thought I was doing it, and he was like, "No, son, you think me to come and show you how to do it?" I said, "Man, yeah, come show me. Come get on these drums and show me." Man.
Oh man. So
that was pretty awesome.
when did you join him exactly?
I've been with Stevie since like 2009, 2008, 2009 maybe.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's just like completely open-ended. That's just just wow.
And what would be like on the Stevie gig? What would be like a couple of your most favorite tunes to play?
Man, there's so many. And what's crazy is there's so many songs that I love from him that he hasn't performed in years. And man, like there's one record I love. He has this record called "Golden Lady."
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
"Golden Lady" I love that record. The cool thing about the Songs of His Life, we got to play some records that like "Ordinary Pain." Like I love that record. I used to hear that record on the album all the time. I was like, man, we should have performed that. And he wasn't ready to do it yet. But when we did this whole tour with Songs of His Life, I got a chance to really experience that song live and sit in that seat.
Wow.
Wow.
Yep.
I can't even imagine.
Stanley,
Yeah.
what song was it that you were explaining that one of the Stevie tunes that most drummers play the wrong way? What song was that?
Oh,
I wish.
I wish.
Huh.
Yes. I wish. A lot of drummers. I've heard a lot of drummers because the bass line, the way that the bass line moves, it makes you feel like the drum beat is supposed to be 4 on the floor.
Right.
Because I was one. I also made the same mistake. Actually, on the gig with the boss man and stuff. So I was actually playing 4 on the floor, thinking that was the beat to the gig, to the song. And he's like, "You're playing that drum beat wrong, man." I was like, "You sure?" I thought it was just like a regular groove.
Are you sure?
Right. He's like, "No, man. Listen to the record." I said, "Okay." And I listened to it, and I was like, "Man, I would have never known that it was that type of kick pattern."
So it's more syncopated than what guys think.
Exactly.
Then. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
And it's not even a kick drum pattern that you think that you would hear on that record. Man, the bass line on that record stands out so strong.
Right.
Right.
You feel like it's supposed to be 4 on the floor. And I've heard a lot of drummers cover that song and totally make the same mistake.
Interesting.
Okay, but if I keep playing it wrong, will Stevie come and show me how to do it right?
Hey, if you play it wrong in front of him, I'm pretty sure he will.
I'll tell you what, I'd be happy to come to your gig and play everything wrong.
Oh man, you might get him. Look, you might get him on the drums then.
Oh, great! You
might make him get out of his seat.
I'd love it.
That sounds like a good promise.
I love it, man.
So Stanley, you do a whole lot of other things too. I mean, I don't know how you find the time, but honestly, I mean, you produce, you teach.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the stuff that you do independently.
Well, right now, I've been doing production for the last 7 years. Started around 2010. I got my first, when I moved to LA, I got my first studio in LA, Sunland Valley. And actually, the way I got the studio was pretty cool. I was, these apartments that I live in, it was some pretty cool apartments. Usually, a lot of the people in the apartments kind of did something either in film, TV, or entertainment, music entertainment. So this guy who was a video, he recorded dance music videos. He saw me always carrying my drums from my car to my apartment all the time. So he was like, bro, I see you carrying drums, man. Like, you just so happen to do music? And actually, at the time, I was practicing, like, making tracks and doing stuff because I used to work on the MPC and work with keyboards because I knew how to play on piano or whatever. So I would make little songs, and then I would go on my MPC and make a beat to it. So he ended up asking me, yo, do you do music, man? You make tracks? I was like, yeah, man. Like, I got this situation with a studio that I'm opening up, and I need an in-house producer, somebody who can come in and kind of, make sure everything is cool. It'll basically be your room, your studio. You can make beats all day, do whatever. Once we rent it out, just make sure everything is set up cool for the client to use it. I was like, awesome, that's cool. I went to the studio. It was a great situation. Everything worked out pretty cool. I ended up learning Pro Tools and learning everything about plugins and wave files, all at this studio.
Cool.
And a situation happened where the guy that brought me in and the owner of the studio, they bumped heads on some business stuff, and so the guy ended up getting kicked out. So the owner of the studio ended up calling me. Just so happened to be really great friends with Greg Stillingame.
Oh, wow.
Found out I was the drummer. He found out I was the drummer with Stevie. He's like, oh my God, man. You know what, bro? I want you to have this studio, man. You take over the studio and you keep it running, man. You bring all the guys over here and work on some music and just do your thing.
Perfect.
So it was a great blessing. So I had that studio for about 3-4 years, worked out of there and really built up my whole production. While I was in that studio, I also got signed to Sony. Me and two of my friends got signed to Sony as producers and artists.
Wow.
So I actually did some work with 2 Chainz, Sierra, Will.i.am, Juicy J. Did a lot of work with Juicy J, 3 6 Mafia, because they were from Memphis, from my hometown. So,
wow.
Yeah, ended up doing the whole production thing. And then once we kind of moved out that studio, I kind of threw my production stuff on hold, and I went back to really focusing on doing drums more, my whole drum career. And now that I've flourished some things in my drum career, I currently have a new studio in North Hollywood out here in California, and I'm producing more music. And I'm doing more stuff like I have this one band called the Brandon Brown Collective, the BBC, and it's more like funk music. A lot of like vibes that I've kind of been playing myself with Stevie. It's very inspired by Stevie and any of the music from like Memphis that I grew up on. Al Green and there's a lot of guys from Memphis. All the old school music, too many to name. Sax music, just in general. So like the funk music that I have from home and the vibes that I've learned from Stevie, I've all combined them with my brother, and we just created this whole funk band and this whole thing that's amazing.
Cool.
That's taken off and doing pretty well. And I also have another artist called Emmy Seacrest that I've been producing, and she's more like on the rock soulful side of the music. So that's a pretty interesting music. And I have music out with both of these artists, and I have other artists too. I've just been doing all types of production, just putting music out, keeping it going, building it up, And
where do you find the time to do all this?
Well, I do a lot of traveling. Like right now, we have 2 days off with new kids, so I came home to get some work done here in my spot with some of my artists. also, usually when I'm on the road, some of the cities you go to, I work with some of the artists in the cities too. So usually if I'm in the city for more than 2-3 days, we have more than 2 days, I'll find a studio, we rent out a spot, we all hook up and just work on some music together. And I also do music on the road. Like, I have my laptop and my Pro Tools and my whole rig with me. So when, we're have some downtime on the road, I can just create and work on some music.
And are you still doing the teaching online?
Now, the teaching online I had to put on pause because usually when I tour, it's kind of complicated to teach because the only access to a drum set I usually have at the time is usually on stage.
Sure.
So usually if they're doing stuff on stage, like line check or testing other things, I can't really go up there and do a whole practice section. Also, the Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi in different cities is so weird. It's good in some areas and horrible in other areas.
Yeah.
So I don't want to take any chances on betting on the Wi-Fi.
Right.
And everything, and it doesn't go through. So
right.
I kind of put it on pause when I'm on the road or whatever. But when I'm home and I'm local and I know I can come to my studio and easily just get online and talk to whoever I need to talk to or teach whoever I need to teach, it's just easier for me that way.
So Stanley, what do you want people to know most about you, and if there's something that you could sort of tell young drummers? I mean, you seem to be so inspiring to me. I mean, I just can't imagine.
Well, one thing that I've been telling a lot of drummers that I've seen, I love and appreciate technology. It's a good thing. But also the downfall of technology is that every drummer is able to see other drummers, and it's coming to a point where a lot of the young drummers, they all sound the same.
Yeah.
I would love to hear and see way more creativity when it comes to drums and music from drummers, because one thing I remember growing up, man, I didn't have technology when I was 10 and 12 years old, but when I heard Steve Gadd on the record, I knew that was Steve Gadd. When I heard Vinny Colaiuta on the record, I knew that was Vinny Colaiuta. Today, like, I have to ask, like, who's that playing drums?
Yeah.
I don't know who it is because this guy sounds like this guy.
I'm with you.
This guy sounds like that guy.
I'm with you.
I want, if the younger drummers could just find time, I would tell them usually just like, yo, find time for yourself, man, where you don't watch anybody else or listen to anybody else. You just sit there, just you and drums, and create a vibe, create a sound. It really turns you into a character. It's, even with my whole dressing, the way I dress and wearing the hat and the jewelry and everything, it's all a part of my playing. It's who I am as a person.
Right.
You mean you've never knocked that hat off with one of those Big Firth heavy metal sticks?
Look, I love that hat now, man, because usually when I get excited and one of those sticks hit me in the face, that is terrible. But now, when I have that big brim is there to protect that from happening ever again.
Yeah, next will be like a welder's mask.
Oh, man.
No, I've done that, but so that doesn't impede you at all, because it's a wide, because I saw it on the Drumeo video. It's a wide brimmed hat, right?
Yeah. Actually, the cool thing about it, man, an artist that I used to work with, her name is Shoshana Bean. She's from LA. Her whole vibe, man, I love the vibe of her music, man. It's so like soulful, but it's got a little bit of rock edge, and it's really dope music. She's from the background. What's the movie? Oh, she was on the show Witch from New York, a Broadway show.
Mm-hmm.
So her music it doesn't sound like Broadway, but she knows how to be animated, like with her lyrics, and it's really dope music. Shoshana Bean.
Oh,
anyway,
I know that. I know her.
Yeah. We were shopping for clothes for one of her shows because she wanted to change the look of the band and make it go with the whole vibe of the music. So we went into a vintage shop one day looking for some clothes. She saw this hat. She's like, yo, this hat would be really dope on you. So I tried this hat on, And it was cool. And I started getting compliments from him, like, yo, man, that goes with your whole vibe. I'm like, that's cool. So I was like, let me go find some more hats. And I just so happened to go to Hollywood, man, this spot in Hollywood called the Hat Shop. And it turned out to be an Amish guy who was making hats.
Wow.
And he made this hat for me. It's an Amish hat.
Right. Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. And it felt like, and it made you feel like you. That's just
exactly. And it's like only made for me. There's nobody else with it. People have tried to find this hat everywhere. And that's the cool thing about it is no other hat like this hat.
I was just going to say, does it make, and it might be kind of an off question, but dressing up makes you feel better, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You wouldn't.
It's all a lifestyle.
I was going to say, you wouldn't want to trade wardrobes with me. I look like Boxcar Willie after taxes.
Oh, no way. No way.
Yeah. So I try, but
well, I just, I think that you have a lot of very, very great things to say, Stanley, and I've been really looking forward to this, and I'm going to let you get back to your life. But
wait, before he does, no, I got to do this.
Yeah.
No, first of all, because we were having this discussion before you called in. Is your manager your girlfriend? I'm not really sure how this works, but
no,
we were trying to thank her, and I don't think we say thanks for us.
No.
Okay.
She's not my girlfriend, but she's a really great friend, man. She's been there for me, especially right now. I had another manager before who was a really great homie of mine, but we had to part ways because he had to actually do more things to take care of his family at the time. Right. So I didn't want to put that pressure of him trying to tend to my needs and what I need, and he needed to take care of his family. So I let him do his thing, and just so happened that she stepped in at the right time. She was already a really great person. I've seen her manage other people and been very successful at doing it. So I'm like, yo, if you don't mind helping me out right now in my whole time of transitioning, I would really greatly appreciate it. So she's just a really great friend that I've known for years since I moved out here to L.A. And we're both not from here. We always end up at the same places. We're like, yo, we should kick it, man.
Well, she's on it.
Yeah, she's very sweet.
She's really on it, and she's terrific. And
by the way,
that's good to know.
What about Stanley? Must have a website or anything you want
people
to check
Stanley, tell us where we can find out everything Stanley.
Now, everything Stanley. I have a new app that I've had for the last 6 months that I'm currently even every other day. I'm always updating or trying to figure out something new to do on the app. But if you just go to your app store and type in my name, Stanley Randolph, you can download my app.
Wow,
we'll do it.
Yeah, I have music that I've produced. I have exclusive videos. I even have a fan page wall. And the new thing I'm doing now is I'm trying to collect all the pictures from all the fans that I take pictures with. Every time that I take a picture with a fan, I want them to go to my app and put it up on the app so that way I can have a whole collection of these moments that I've had with different people. Because there's a lot of people out there, man, that I meet, and sometimes I run across them again, and it's like, oh, my God, I can't believe this is cool. You're all the way across the world, and I come over here and I get the chance to see you again. So it's pretty cool. That
is very cool. I don't think anyone else is doing that kind of thing.
That is so cool.
Yeah, so I just want to share everything with everybody, man, because a lot of people, one thing, I wasn't informed. I didn't have the knowledge of what it takes to have a professional drum career or just to do music, period. I didn't have the knowledge, because you can't really learn it. Sometimes people have to, tell you secrets or teach you secrets or some things you can read, but I didn't have it all. I didn't know it all being in Memphis, so I want to have an opportunity to share with other people, man, who really want to take this life serious. Because it's pretty fun. It's not work to me. It's like it's my everyday life. It's not work to me. I love doing what I'm doing, so I want to share with other people who want to have the same passion.
Absolutely.
Well,
absolutely.
You sound like you're. I hope we get to meet sometime, Stanley. You sound very cool.
I hope we do, Robin.
You're awesome. You're just awesome.
We'll have drinks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're really awesome, and I really want to thank you for doing this today. And
you're going to hate me for this, but one last thing.
Oh my God!
No.
What else, Ed?
I'm doing this for his endorsement companies. Any shout outs to your endorsement companies?
Yes.
Okay.
I love DW Drums, Fusion Cymbals, Big First Sticks, Remo Heads, Rolling Electronics, LP Percussion, Drum Dot. Man, let me tell you something. If you don't know about Drum Dot, everybody listening,
Drum Dots?
check out Drum Dot.
Is that drumdots.com? Like a mute? Is it
Yes.
muting, like little, like what?
Yes.
To dampen.
It's a muting. Yeah, it's a dampening thing for your drum head. Man, let me tell you something. These Drum Dots helped me create my whole new vibe, my whole new sound, man. When it comes to like snare drums, I'm very meticulous and I'm very tedious when it comes to like the tuning and the upkeep of my snare drums. So, Drum Dots, man. One thing I used to, I hate to say, one thing I used to hate, I used to love moon gels.
Right.
When I would leave my drums in a certain area, if I was on a gig that was outside and just so happened that the sun actually was on my drums for like 30 minutes or more, man, those moon gels would melt all over my head, man. It
Really?
Kind of, yeah, it was an unfortunate situation. It would make my sticks dirty, the drums dirty. Like, I don't like dirty drums. I love clean, pretty,
Yeah.
awesome drums. So, like, Drum Dots, I don't have that issue at all. They're very awesome to use. They gave me the exact tone that I need with my snare drum. I can use about 3 of them on my funky left side, yo, and it gives me this dead quality smack on my snare drum that's amazing. So,
And so these are
to
little circular dots, I imagine, right? All one
Yeah.
size or different sizes?
two different sizes. There's one that's about the size of a quarter, and
Okay.
then there's another one that's about the size of a dime. That's really amazing on tongue, and also even on cymbals, man. I started using them on cymbals recently. It's great for dampening cymbals in certain situations. I was in a small club about a month and a half ago, and the cymbals I were using were a little bit overbearing for the audience. So I put a few Drum Dots on the cymbals, man, and it deadened them perfect, and they never fell off. They never moved. It was a perfect situation. So
All right, so
Drum Dots are really good.
all right, Drum Dots. You guys check
Yeah.
those out. I'll check them out. I didn't know about them either. I was sort of
Yeah,
of the
Drum Dots.
moon gel and whatever, but that's very cool. Can you imagine
yeah,
the?
awesome company from New York.
Oh, they're in New York.
Yeah, Buffalo, New York.
Okay. I was going to say if Drum Dots must be new on the scene, right?
Yeah, they're pretty new on the scene. I've only been with them, I believe, maybe a year and a half.
I was just about to.
But I've been
Go ahead.
I've been
I'm sorry.
spreading the word about them, though.
Yeah, I think I may
really
have heard about it or read about it briefly, but that's good to know, man. So people can just go on the internet. I was just because of the way my mind works. I'm thinking, what do we got? We got a truck in it. It's at the talk. I was going to say, can you imagine the amount of money that Phil Collins could have saved on noise gates if Drum Dots were available back then?
Oh, man. You know what? Man, the new Remo heads, the mesh heads that they have for you to put on drum sets, the silent heads,
Oh yeah.
they're saving a lot of people because those things are amazing. I have a pair on at a kit at my studio. I have a set on there, and I could easily just, if I wanted to, just practice, and no one would ever know. They would never hear me.
Oh, I was going to ask you that too. Like, so when you're practicing, is it pad work or just like on your kit whenever you get a chance?
Well, usually I play a lot of drums even at the studio, so I'm always playing drums. I usually touch the drums a lot every day. So either I'm doing a local gig here in town or I'm at the studio and I'm playing something live. And usually before I kind of play something live and record it, I take a few minutes or 30 or so minutes and just play and kind of warm up so I can feel good. My body and everything is moving and feeling good. And then I'll record what I want to do.
Okay.
So I usually touch the drums all the time.
Okay. And your shows are like, what, 90 minutes a night or 2 hours?
Well, actually, all the artists I play for, the only person who has the shortest show time is Christina Aguilera. But Stevie's show is 3 hours long.
Whoa.
Just
Ooh.
Stevie's show is like, but it's amazing. You don't even feel like 3 hours because every song is like an amazing hit or an
Oh,
amazing
well,
moment.
I wouldn't feel like
And
3
then,
hours to me. I would be in heaven.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but
And
I'm
then,
59 years old. I have to pee every 45 minutes.
Oh man, look, man, you wouldn't even think about having
No,
No, I
you,
hear
you
you.
wouldn't get
I
up
know.
out of your seat.
No, I wouldn't. You're right about that. For fear somebody else would be sitting
as soon
down.
as the show is over.
Wow. That's unbelievable. Well, this really has been great, Stanley. It's
Yeah.
such a pleasure to meet you, man. And thanks for...
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys, for
thank
having
you,
me
thank
today.
you.
This is awesome.
And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And stay tuned for on Facebook to see who's next. Oh, on June 12th, we have Joe Lamont, who's the president of NAMM. Should be interesting. He's
dope.
also a drummer.
Yes.
So check it out. And thank you again, Stanley. We will
Thank you.
we will see you
Wait.
down the line.
We got to give the guy a hand. That's
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe how many people we got stuffed in this room over here.
Have a great day, Stanley.
Awesome. You guys too.
All right, thank you.
Take care.